guitar players, welcome back to the channel. I'm Corey Hicks, and today we're going to be talking about some improvisational concepts for a D slow blues. This is going to include some modal formulas, chord scales, arpeggios, triads, and even some drop two voicings. So if any of this is brand new to you, don't worry, I'm going to unpack it all for you right here. The track we're using today is a slow blues quick change in the key of D. That's going to be available in the description below. You can hop on over to my Patreon for $5 a month. You can get access to this and all sorts of other perks. We're even doing the Guitar in a Year course, which is available there as well. All right, so let's get started. So let's take a look at the harmony for a D blues. The one chord is going to be D7. The four chord is G7. And the five chord is an A7 chord. It's really important to understand the intervals and the note names inside of these chords. If I have a D7, which is D, F sharp, A, and C, I need to know that that's the first, third, fifth, and flatted seventh of a D major scale. This is also going to give me the chord scale of D Mixolydian. But furthermore, it's really important to practice different inversions of these chords. So if I play a D7, those are all D7 chords. Moving on to the G7, those are all G7 chords. And my A7s, same thing is true there. So understanding all these different chord shapes, and we do talk about this a lot over on Patreon. If you are interested in learning more about these drop two voicings, or you want to grow your chord vocabulary, reach out to me over there and we can talk about it. Every one of these tones is also going to be a mini arpeggio. I'm playing F sharp, which is the major third of D. Here's C, here's a D note, and here's A. I can use this shape to give me a little mini arpeggio. So this is going to be a way that I can kind of phrase in that location. So you see how having those tones available and looking down at the neck and being able to say 3, flat 7, 1, 5 allows me to phrase with a lot more confidence because I know exactly what tones are going to be important over that chord. Now, one of the things that a lot of beginners to intermediates get wrong about the blues is they just assume that every blues is a minor song because blues is supposed to be sad and because we usually learn the minor pentatonic scale when we first begin. Playing the minor pentatonic scale over a blues the entire time not only gets boring, but you have some actually incorrect notes. If I have a D7 chord, I'll just play one like this. That D7 chord has a major third, Do, Re, Mi. Now if I'm playing the minor pentatonic scale over that, that's really clashing quite a bit. So in order to avoid that clash, I have to play the appropriate chord scale for D7, which is D Mixolydian. So how do we get there? Well, D Mixolydian is just a D major scale with a flatted seventh. So if I know D major, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, then I can take that and take that C sharp and lower it to C natural. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C natural, D. Now that's another thing that we do in our music theory course over on Patreon. One of the first things I have people do is be able to recite all 12 major scales, cycle 4. So C major, C, D, F, G, A, B, F major, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, B flat major, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A. What I do is I go through these things really quickly, and so we have to practice them so that they are almost instantaneous. So if I need, for example, that F sharp note, which is the most important tone of the D7 chord, I can find it really quickly. What about the D? Or the A? So being able to find these things super quickly on the neck is going to be really important for your development as a player. A lot of intermediates don't understand why they're not getting better at the guitar, and a lot of it has to do with just playing songs and not actually understanding or working towards mastery of the instrument. That's kind of the goal. That means that you're going to be able to learn songs super quickly later on. If I know that my D Mixolydian mode or chord scale, whatever you want to call it, is going to be a D major scale with a flatted seventh, I can go through and I can learn all my D major scales throughout the neck. Here's my lowest position. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. These are all D major scales. So the D major scale, for example, goes throughout the entire neck. And yeah, it's important to kind of take the time to do this so that you can understand where all the notes are. It's always funny when I hear people say things like, I don't understand why I'm not getting better. And I'm like, well, hey, have you memorized the notes on your neck? And they're like, oh, no. Well, it's probably a good idea to take the time to do that. So I could take this D major scale and flat that C sharp, making it a C natural. This would be called the parallel approach. Or I could also take a look at it as the fifth mode of the key of G major. G major, which is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, is the same tones as a D Mixolydian scale. I've done other videos about modes, and some of the confusion about modes comes from the fact that we think that it's a pattern. Like if I'm playing D Mixolydian, I have to play it here, starting on D at the low E string, but use your ear for a second. I want to show you something. I was just using the G major scale, which is D Mixolydian, don't get me wrong, but I have those same melodies in lots of different locations. So D Mixolydian goes from here to here. It's not just this little pattern that's in the middle of the neck. And so if I'm phrasing, one of the things that you heard me do is I'm using the whole neck when I'm playing that. So here is where the problem comes in for a lot of players. You get that, that's perfectly fine, and then I tell you, once we go to the 4 chord, which is G7, everything switches. Now you're in the key of C major, and now you have to play G Mixolydian. That's just kind of how the chord scales work. We do need to be able to do this in 12 keys so that we don't just have one key we're good in. It's true, when that G7 chord comes, we have to know the G Mixolydian mode as well. There is a secret though, and you can hear this in Michael Bloomfield's playing. The G Mixolydian scale is derived from C major. The second chord of C major is D minor. So this is why you hear a lot of blues players play the minor pentatonic on the 4 chord. So and it's actually that D Dorian and G Mixolydian are synonyms essentially. So over that G7 chord, I can just play D minor. In the beginning stages, I usually tell students, like, okay, try to find that third and play D Mixolydian over that 1 chord. When it comes time for that 4 chord, you can revert back to the D blues scale or the D minor pentatonic. In addition to this, you can actually borrow from different things from the key that is the parent scale from the mode you're playing. So for example, if I'm in D Mixolydian, I can borrow things from the key of G major, such as the triads, such as the arpeggios, I can borrow lots of things from that key because they are essentially D Mixolydian. If you know all your major scales and you understand how to turn those into modes, playing over any number of chord changes is actually not that difficult because you just apply what the parent key is and you can start bringing in things from that key. The question might be, okay, so I know that E minor pentatonic is inside of G major. Are you saying I could use the E minor pentatonic scale to play over a D blues? Yeah, kind of. I mean, it would be a couple of interesting notes, right? It would be the 4th of D Mixolydian, not the best choice, but you would get the 9, the root, you get the 13, you get the 5th. So it would be kind of a more outside type of choice, but yeah, it's true. You could use that if you wanted to. Now, the simplest way to applying all of this stuff for beginners is going to be the major pentatonic scale. The major pentatonic scale and the Mixolydian mode are so incredibly close in sound. So here is D major pentatonic, and here's my D Mixolydian scale. There's only 2 notes difference between those 2 things, okay? It is really important to be able to have your major pentatonic scale down. I use that pattern quite often, play through it. It's really nice and fast. There's also one that starts on D itself. But if you find this 5-6-1 slide to 3 thing all over the neck, you can pretty much cover the entire neck using D major pentatonic, and then just throw in that C note when you find comfortable. couple of things to kind of help you work out over a slow blues. Be thinking of the chord, be thinking of the intervals inside of the chord, where those are located. Maybe expand your chord vocabulary. Take a look at your major scales throughout the entire neck so that you can start pulling some of those other sounds from the blues scale and the minor pentatonic, turn them into Mixolydian. It is a really wonderful thing once you start getting this freedom in your improvisation. You start getting outside of the box, you start thinking of things that maybe you've never played before, and you have access to every note on the neck. And so this kind of freedom really is going to give you this improvisational joy, so you're able to actually play solos that you feel sound great, you feel not limited to just various different kind of visual patterns on the guitar. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Maybe you learned something new today. And if this helps you out, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. There's lots of other content on my channel. We talk about all sorts of things, everything from beginner to intermediate and even advanced concepts. I appreciate you being here today, and we'll catch you in the next video. All right, peace.